name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and this is KICKASS TV. We have with us today two of the members of the band Images of Eden, my good friend Gordon Titsworth right here, the lead singer, and we're also talking to drummer Steve Dorssom. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
And now, of course, the big news that we're talking to you guys today is because it was announced shortly ago that you guys have got the European tour as opening act on the W.A.S.P tour, which kicks off in April. So let's start off talking about that. How did that opportunity come about?
Well, it was sort of unexpected. We actually wanted to do the U.S. tour with W.A.S.P, but it didn't work out that way. It was just a two-band tour, as you know, Armored Saint W.A.S.P. It was cool. We were on the Michael Schenker tour on the U.S. tour, and that was a great tour, very successful. A lot of sold-out shows too. We had a really good run. We just got home, celebrated Thanksgiving. And then shortly after that, we got the call for the offer to do that. And we were like, oh, man, we weren't expecting to go out on the road yet. You know what I mean? We were like, we kind of...
Did you hear how they became aware of Images of Eden? Was it somebody in their camp, or do you know?
It was their agency.
Oh, wow.
It was their agency. They same agent as Michael Schenker.
Wow. Yeah.
He saw us play in Los Angeles, and he knew us already, but... just thought we were a really good fit, and that's been our goal, is to get to Europe. It's kind of the reason we did a heavier EP. We kind of wanted to break that ice and get over there. We toured the United States several times already. We really need to get over there. That's our goal. So when that hit us, we were a little surprised, a little unprepared for it, because I wasn't prepared just to pick up everything a couple months later and leave again. But that was our goal, so we found a way to make it work and say yes. And then so here we are. Now we're preparing and getting ready to go out again.
And so how excited are you, Gordon, for the upcoming tour?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it's funny because we've had to struggle so hard just to make baby steps. So it was really weird. Out of the blue, I get a call that, hey, they want us in Europe with W.A.S.P, 9 weeks, 45 shows. I thought, are you kidding me? I said, this just doesn't happen. We were not able to do the whole thing, unfortunately, but we were doing a good chunk of it. And so we made everything happen that we could. And I mean, really, this is literally the grand prize, getting to Europe, playing.
Making your dreams come true, huh? I mean,
oh yeah.
As I was talking to Steve before he came on, I know Blackie Lawless's publicist, and he was talking, with some people on the internet, saying how when they first did the American W.A.S.P tour, because W.A.S.P hasn't toured here in like 10 years, the promoters were real, they didn't really think, oh, are you sure W.A.S.P? And they were quite surprised once the tour kicked off, and they seen that practically in every city, W.A.S.P was selling out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what I think is interesting for you guys doing the European tour is, like I said, this is the first tour W.A.S.P has done of the U.S. in like 10 years. But they've always remained big in Europe, and they've continued to do like the big festivals. So even though they kind of had their comeback here like recently, they remain very popular in Europe. So I'm interested to see what the tour does over there, if it did what it did here.
Yeah. I'm told from the agency that everything should be sold out by the time we land in Stockholm, Sweden. So we'll see what happens.
I know besides being the drummer and involved in the songwriting and some of the producing, that you're also serve as the band's manager. So besides just, packing up your drums as a manager, what all does that entail? Like, getting the band ready to do
it's really a whirlwind of items that have to be handled before I can even think of my personal preparation list, so I'm pretty flustered and wore down right now. I mean, because I just got home, I was really tired, and then I had to go immediately to work to get all the logistics all laid out and booked and handled, and just finishing all that right now.
And I imagine even making sure everybody's passports and stuff is up to date.
Oh yeah, I mean, anything from everybody's personal schedule to passports to flights to hotels to our tour van, the tour manager, our merchandise, all the things in between, all that has to be handled and coordinated and started at the starting point where we get the green light and roll with it all. So yeah, I'm through all that finally, thankfully. It's very wearing, and but we got it all done. Now I'm pretty much full board into personal preparation right now, and then we're going to start some band practices up here in about 3 or 4 weeks, and then and then we head out from there. So
and thank God you got a couple of months to prep for that. Could you got the call and hey, we leave next Monday.
Oh yeah, and we all have personal lives too. So this is not, we're just not sitting twiddling our thumbs waiting to go back out. We're very, very busy. We're all professionals in our daily lives and also our night lives. So
will you be taking your equipment, like flying it over there, or will they have equipment over there for you guys to use?
We will have equipment over there, a backline that we basically rent and we use, and we have a specification for all that. And that's all the critical, logistics in the beginning that have to get worked out. You got to go over everything, the power conversions, all that stuff. And us being our first time over there's a lot of new things, but we're just making sure. Gordon and I we're preparation freaks, so we try to like cover every scenario and every nut and bolt that needs to happen, so we're prepared, so we'll be okay.
I always enjoy talking to you guys, because one thing I really picked up on is not just the chemistry, the connection the two of you seem to have, but typically when you do interviews like this with people, typically you have one guy in the band maybe does all the talking for everybody, and I love stuff like this where it's almost always, I think I've only done one solo interview with Steve. Every other time, in fact, I wasn't even sure Steve was going to be joining us, and Gordon told me today, just before we got online, oh, by the way, Steve's going to be joining us. I'm like, yeah, I kind of figured, but that's great, because then you get more than one person's, point of view. And so, Gordon, for you vocally, he's talking about you guys are going to rehearsal. What do you have to prep for, vocally for a big tour like this?
Take the set list and sing it every day for as long as possible before you leave. And that's really the best thing I can possibly do. I mean, really beyond that, I mean, I kind of know what to expect. We've been on tour several times in the US, but then again, I know it's going to be a different animal this time. I mean, even just looking at a couple of the venues that we're going to be playing, this is next level, if not a couple of rungs up from where we had been.
Typically in the US, you guys do like theaters and clubs typically, and so like some of these European shows are actually going to be in arenas. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, our first tour, it was kind of clubs and occasional theater, and then the last 2 tours, it's been basically theater shows. So it's like one step up. And seeing 2 of the arenas actually was just kind of mind blowing. Thinking if this is sort of status quo as to what we should expect. Get ready.
Because I can imagine it. It's one thing, it doesn't really matter, where you do a show. You put on a great show, I think, but to go from like doing clubs and theaters to like, a major arena. I mean, you can imagine. I mean, a club, a stage in a club is a lot smaller, but you're going to be in an arena. The stage is going to be a lot higher. You're going to be looking out in the audience, and that's got to be a new experience,
Yeah, that plus the fact that we don't have a third band. I mean, we're used to being the third band. So you got the headliner setting up, you got the opening to the headliner, who is usually the established band that's setting up, and we get the postage stamp in front of them. So it's kind of nice to be able to have big, it's kind of nice to have big stages and only 2 bands. So we're not going to have any of the problems we ran into before. Not being able to move, or just, we don't have enough DIs, you didn't bring a DI box. What are you doing? Come on. I'm like, well, I thought you guys had it. You're the venue. Come on now.
You see where this is going. Stage, area to run around, huh?
Oh, yeah. Should be good.
Yeah. So like Gordon was saying, this is kind of a really unique tour, and especially for our first time in Europe, because it's just 2 bands. It's just 2 bands being showcased through the whole tour. And, that's by Blackie's choice. He doesn't want a clustered up stage set. He wants a good opening band, and they come out and deliver their show. And I also heard some news that he called the agent, and he really likes Images of Eden. He really does. I mean, he had to pick us to go on this thing first of all. Okay, so he really likes us. He told the agent he feels very refreshed that he gets to go out on tour with a band he really likes. So that's really cool to hear, because I'm a huge W.A.S.P fan from back in the day, and a Blackie fan back in the day, and going through all these years and kind of a full circle. And then we're touring together. And he likes us. That's pretty cool.
So. W.A.S.P is one of those bands. They got a huge fan base. Like I said, this is the first tour they've done here in the U.S. in like 10 years, but they're huge over there in Europe, and they continue to play to big crowds over there. And I'm hoping that with the success they've had on the U.S. tour and now the European tour, I'm hoping there'll be maybe some new music or at least an EP or something.
I heard they're going to do something. They're going to do a new album, I heard. So
that's cool. I mean, and then, the thing with W.A.S.P is like they're an international band. So, all eyes are, people kind of know what to expect from W.A.S.P, even over there in Europe. But like, I think all eyes are going to be on Images of Eden. And do you know like how popular you guys are on Europe? I mean, you must get people messaging you and,
I will tell you, it's really difficult to gauge that. It really is, because you never really know. I mean, more people. One thing I've found is more people know who you are than you think.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear from everybody who knows who you are. I mean,
sure.
I've gone places and gotten recognized locally and not even locally. And it's crazy. It's just you never really know. And we've had good coverage in the past in Europe. And when I say in the past, I mean even before Soul Rise, the first 3 albums, Chapter 1, Sunlight of the Spirit, and Rebuilding the Ruins. I mean, we had more coverage in Europe for those older albums than we did in the US. And then I know when we reformed in 2016 and released Soul Rise, Angel Born, and then Weathered and Torn, I know that we've gotten great coverage in Europe then. So I don't know what to expect. I know that there are going to be people who are going to know us, but I just don't know to what extent.
So even with you saying that, it kind of leads me to kind of maybe think, at least here in the U.S., people have seen live shows of you guys, but they've never seen you live in Europe. So I would think they would have, anybody that's a fan would have that desire. Okay, our band, they're finally coming to our country.
Yeah, the curiosity has got to be there, I think. And I mean, if they haven't heard of us, they're gonna hear of us just by being on the advertisement for the W.A.S.P tour, which is gonna gain some curiosity. I mean, we got people that tell us that they're gonna eat us alive over there, but we, like Gord said, we don't know, but we're gonna go over there and give it our best and do what we do, and I hope they like it.
It's like when I contacted Gordon about doing the interview about a month ago to set this up. We're doing today. It was the day I seen the advertisement. Oh, they're going to do a European tour with W.A.S.P. Wow, that is huge. And the thing too is like, talk about like for a country you guys have never been to, how hard is that to kind of come up with a set list? I mean, are you going to do the same show you've been doing here in the States, or because you've never been there, are you going to have more songs in the set?
Yeah, so we are definitely coming out with a heavy set for Europe. We've been thinking about it for a little while now. Yeah. So when we got the call for this, we pretty much immediately knew what our set list was. Yes, we are playing longer. So since it's just a 2-band showcase, of course, we get a longer set, so it's great. Our first time in Europe, we really get to give the fans a true presentation of Images of Eden. Yeah. And that's big. So yeah, we're gonna have a heavier set this time. I won't tell you what the songs are. We're gonna play a lot of songs off the new EP. We're gonna be touching songs off the Angel Born record and Soul Rise. So we're giving you a taste of everything.
And I think that's only fair for European fans who never got a live taste before. This is gonna be the icing on the cake, so to speak.
I mean, we have a show that can go an hour and a half if they would let us, but we've got to really crunch everything down, and
I know so Blackie's been doing like these VIP meet and greets with the fans. Do you guys have any plans to have your own personal meet and greets, like after a show, or go and talk to a fan?
Every time. The only thing is we don't charge. We'll be right up there by the merch booth. You want to come see us? Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. And I think you guys have always had that kind of down home approach. And I think that's why fans really dig this band. And like we've talked before, Images of Eden is one of those bands the last couple of years just kind of come out of nowhere. And it's funny, with each release, the band breaks a little bigger and more forward. And I mean, like we've talked, you guys have opened tours for Yngwie Malmsteen, Michael Schenker, now W.A.S.P. That just shows you that you guys are a band that, I mean, Inkling, Malmsteen, Wasp, Mike, they're kind of, hard rock and metal, but different genres of it, so that shows you that Images of Eden has the ability to tour very different types of bands.
Yeah, that's a great point you make there, and Gordon and I kind of developed that for that very reason. We're very versatile. We can create a set list to go out with hard rock. We can create a set list to go out with a band like Overkill if we wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I think why you guys worked on the Inkling tour, because Inkling Malmsteen is very different from it's much more of a guitar oriented music audience, but yet I think that's part of the magic why Images of Eden worked on that tour, because people are getting a little something different with the opening act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And, talk about the Inkling tour. I remember initially when that tour kicked off, John 5 was supposed to be the other second bill, and then he kind of bowed out. How interesting is it since all that he's now replaced Mick Mars and Motley Crue?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I met John 5 a while back when he was on the Queensryche tour. But yeah, I mean,
it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you this much: if John 5 was on the Yngwie tour, we would have never gotten a chance to ever play the stage.
No, we probably would have gotten cut more often than not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's weird the way things play out, but I do think that's kind of true. Not that you guys would have been outshined. I just think, like you said, he would have probably got more, being kind of second bill, and he would have got more time on stage than you guys. And
really what I mean about that is the headliner takes the entire day up until doors open.
Yeah.
I don't know where John 5 would have went and done his sound check, and I don't know where we would have set up and did our show. So it's just one of those things. That tour was good for us because I feel we paid our dues all in one tour on that one.
I mean, like I said, these last three tours, each one kind of set you up for the next thing, and and I'm kind of curious to see, like, you guys doing arenas in Europe. I mean, that is going to be vastly different. You think when you get over there, like first night, I imagine do sound check, and because doing a show in an arena, I'm sure, is quite different from playing a small theater, huh?
It's kind of funny because we've gotten close. We played a place in San Antonio, Texas called the Tobin Center, which was a huge indoor venue. You're standing on stage, you can look up, and it's got like 5 or so stories of balconies, so you can see up in the distance. You'll see the light.
Yeah,
it's definitely a different feel because when you're in a club, all the sound's contained, and when I'm wailing out a note, I can hear it everywhere. Whereas in a place like that, in like a big venue or an arena or something, I just have to trust that it's going out there and just go by my monitors. And I mean, in the wedges, I could stand on one side of the stage, hear a totally different mix than when I stand on the other side of the stage. So you just have to kind of rely on muscle memory a little more for those types of shows.
As a frontman too, Gordon, I would think it's going to be quite different, looking out into the audience. You're going to see a lot more people that are right in front of you, kind of like looking out like this, and
I can't wait.
All eyes are going to be on you,
I can't wait. And, I have a habit of moving a lot on stage, and the more real estate there is, the more room that I have, and the close, the more I know I'm going to get winded. So I have to kind of dial it back a little bit. It's hard to not really.
Be an arena tour.
Yeah, I mean,
you think you'll be talking more to the audience, like introducing more of the songs than you typically do?
No, but I'll probably just be a lot more amped up. My adrenaline needle will be pegged. Yeah. If I'm just looking over a sea of people, versus playing some club where I'm standing between, Steve's cymbal and then the other drummer, the other band's cymbal here, and you see how that goes.
And how much are you guys gonna have rehearsals before you leave for the tour?
Being in Images of Eden, excellence is expected, excellence is demanded. You have to be
ready.
You have to be very self-disciplined. Okay, so we all come in at home, we get ready.
Yeah.
We join up for a couple of band practices, and boom, we're out. And that's it. That's it.
And you think when you guys are over there doing this tour, do you think? I was curious. Do you ever in sound checks? Do you ever break out I got this new riff. Let's check it out. Or let's practice. Yeah.
No, normally we just don't have the time for that. And I mean, normally it's the headliners ate up so much of the sound check time. People are lined up waiting to go in. We have to just get our stuff ready to go and get off stage and get ready to start the show, you know. So maybe someday we'll be able to do that, but not right now.
and Steve, as the drummer, like you typically do a drum solo during the show? Will you be doing...
No. Again, there's no room in our set for that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, and not this time either. I mean, we're gonna have a 45-minute set roughly, and we're trying to give our best songs out that we think they're gonna like, and we got a show planned, but there will be no drum solo incorporated into that. No.
And you know, the other thing as a fan of you guys that I've always loved is not just that you guys you know, constantly putting out, you know, new material, but I think your biggest problem has been do we put out an EP or do we put out a full length, you know? And that's kind of a good problem to have.
I can answer that for you right now. Don't expect another EP. I'm going to say this the best way I know how. I'm not a fan of EPs. To me, EPs are underachievements. That being said, I was so glad that we did this, though, because we wanted to keep something going after the Angel Born tour, and we really wanted to keep the momentum going. And so we had a discussion with the label, and basically they're like, look, you know, you guys have proven yourself in the US. You know, you always ride the wall. You know, you ride the line between melodic and heavy. If you kind of just push it a little bit over to the heavier end, you might, you know, open up another door or two. And so, because time was of the essence, we had to knock that out. I'm very happy with the EP. I think it's great. I'm extremely happy on how it turned out. But see, I'm that guy that, you know, when I was a music fan growing up, I wanted the longest, most powerful album possible. I mean, I want to be able to need Dramamine at the end of that album. I mean, give me a 65, 70-minute, massive masterpiece. And that's what I want to hear. That's what we're going to deliver. So after this, there's going to be another full length. You know,
who knows? I'm with you, Gordon. I mean, that's my whole attitude. And as much as I love Weathered and Torn, I think I shared this with you last time. My only real complaint is I wish it had more songs, but I understand, like you said, why you guys did that, because partly because of the pandemic, maybe, and like you said, we want to keep the band's name out there. And I see why. And amazingly, that's usually my attitude. But after hearing the EP, I'm like, you know what? I can say this for once. I'm not disappointed. I guess only disappointment is I wish there was more songs, but they were quality songs, if you know what I mean. And so I think you guys once again delivered for the fans.
Yeah, that's great, man. And this was the first release that we fully produced too. So we're taking audio production in house too. Before this, Bill Matoyer did our mixing and mastering. I mixed this one, but Bill did the mastering. The next one, we're just going to take this baseline mix and just tweak it a little bit more, and I will be doing the mastering on that one as well. So that always trims down time. See, the problem is we send all of our files to Bill. We just give him this massive amount of files and say, here, put the pieces of the puzzle together. And, you know, he's knee deep in doing something for Armored Saint. He was knee deep in doing something for Body Count. So, I mean, we got bumped for Armored Saint and Body Count. I guess that's
good company, my friend. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, I'm talking about being old school, which I am. I miss the days of going to record stores. People used to be able to go to a store and buy music. I remember like Music Plus, the Warehouse. My favorite of all, Tower Records. And I mean, one thing I always love about your guys' releases is you always got beautiful album covers.
Thank you. We stumbled upon this artist, Jan Erland. As a matter of fact, I did a vocal for Hire project for a friend of mine probably about 10 or 11 years ago. I can't remember. And his cover was done by this artist. And I said, wow, this guy's really good. Got his information. And he, you know, I sent him a sketch for Soul Rise, what I was thinking. And he came back with that flawless, amazing album cover. So we knew right away, this is our guy. And he's always going to be doing our album covers.
Yeah, I mean, our part of our whole you know, presentation is just that, is the art and the visuals and the video and the music, and it's a whole thing that we put together. We put as much importance on the liner notes and the album cover as much as we do the songs, you know. So it's very important. Every aspect of our presentation that we give out for public view, it gets a ton of thought and gone over by us, and just to make sure it's exactly the way we want it.
Yeah, and I think that's why people reacted the way they have to this band, because you guys take a lot of pride, in what you do. The way you present it, like you said, you deliver quality product to the fans, and that's why I think you guys continue to progress. Getting bigger and bigger tours, and it's amazing in this day and age that you guys are still with the same label. They're not thinking about even dropping you guys, and why would they? I mean, and even like you said with the EP, you push yourselves just a little more. Okay, we'll go a little bit heavier. I mean, you guys were already heavy, and one of the things I always kind of dug about Images of Eve, and like Gordon was saying, you can do different types of music. I mean, it's all kind of metal and hard rock oriented, but yeah, with each release, you get a little bit heavier, and I think that's too what fans of this type of music like.
Yeah. Yeah, the label was happy with this EP and what we did, and we took kind of their, talking, we talked, and well, let's get a little heavier. Let's unlock that lock over there and let's get over there once and for all. And so that's what we did, and they liked it. But again, the EP, I agree with Gordon. I mean, we would never normally do something like that. Yeah. It was just a moment in time, a business decision of a product placement of this tester of heavy music that we're unlocking that lock over there. It was that I totally don't regret it at all. But our next one's going to be a full length. We had to keep up with the timing of things. We wanted to get that EP done, release the video out, and then hit the Michael Schenker tour immediately. And so we had deadlines to make all that happen. I mean, we had to work our tails off to make that date happen.
I mean, and you did that all during the pandemic. And how did that affect the band? I mean, were you guys still? Well, I guess we're still out there touring in spite of it, right?
Well, I mean, in 2020, we didn't do anything except we created Angelborn. We did all of our music videos. We did all that stuff. So we were extremely busy, just not playing live. Then we started playing live. The Yngwie tour went on. It was still a little iffy out there, but we made it through just fine. Yeah. And, so, I mean, we're not going to let this man-made disease that was unleashed on the world stop our dreams. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
One quick thing, a couple quick things. Number one, our opinion about COVID, watch the video to Animation in a Still World. Okay. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And, number two, one thing that you said earlier, too, you were talking about, the new release or whatnot, or EP versus LP. I just was kind of holding on to this thought. There was a famous musician years ago, and I don't want to say who it is just in case I semi-misquote him, but basically what he said was, you only need a couple, like 3 or 4 good songs on the album, and the rest can be filler material. Yeah. And I'm like, it takes just as much time to write a filler song, to record it, and go through all that. Why bother? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, if I'm not moved by the song in the writing process, it gets scrapped. It gets scrapped. I mean, it needs to affect me in some way. And, so I don't believe in putting any kind of filler material anywhere. I mean, what's the point? You've wasted your time if that's the case.
We don't go out and record 35 songs and pick the best songs to put on the record. We make 12 quality, heartfelt, thought-through songs, and that's the project.
I mean, if you guys put out filler material, you wouldn't be doing the W.A.S.P tour. You wouldn't have got on the Michael Schenker.
Exactly.
We don't do that. No.
And because you have the attitude you do, 10 years from now, people are still going to be talking about this music. They're still going to be listening to these records,
I hope so, man. I hope you're right. And I mean, just, you listen to a filler song, it's a filler song, and it's like, our name is on everything we do. So we want to, we don't want to phone it in. I mean, we want it to be gold.
Yeah. I mean, like I think we all agree that, like, I can tell you from my life experience, all my favorite bands, all my favorite albums, these favorite classic albums we grew up on, they all like you take something like Kiss Destroyer, Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, all great songs. I mean, it's not like you just put on and listen to 1 or 2 tracks. I mean, who wants to do that? These were quality bands, quality songs. I think all my favorite bands, that's the thing, the songwriting, the songs, that's what makes it special.
That's what it's all about, right? I mean, don't cheat the fan and give them junk. I mean, give them something real, man, or don't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Steve and Gordon, for doing this. This was real fun. We're going to be doing like this from now on. When you guys do put out a new music video, or when you do maybe come back from the European tour, I'd like to welcome you back, and we could talk about how the tour went and
Sure.
follow this up. So
We'd
you
love
guys
to.
take care, and good luck with the tour. Thanks for doing this today. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much, Dan. Thanks for having us as always, man. And anytime we'd love to come on anytime you'll have us, brother.
You guys know you're always welcome. Your family, okay?
Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. Bye.